Hello everybody, it's your boy N here. I'm coming at you guys with another YouTube video. So in today's video, I'm going to give you the raw speedrunner bunny setup, the one that I use for basically everything. This is the non-crit build I use for everything. Other than this, I use crit bunny for absolutely everything else. Purge is crit bunny, everything else is crit bunny, but this is the only non-crit build that I use, and I use it for speedruns. So let's get on into it. Starting off with the modules on Bunny, it's undoubtedly mid-air maneuvering, because with this we can fling ourselves forward using the melee, and this is going to make Bunny's third ability tick more and delete all the mobs around you, so this is what I would recommend. Next up, Electric Condense. This is Bunny's best red module, so we go with Electric Condense regardless. This is going to allow us to basically nuke elites and stuff like that in solo, and then in squads this will still do a fairly promising amount of damage. It won't fully nuke a elite or a dungeon boss in a squad, but in solo or duo you won't have a problem. Next up, let's focus on how we're going to take advantage of Condense. Now with Condense you want to have a lot of cooldown. For cooldown on Condense you essentially want to go with full cooldown. So if we go to cooldown modules, you can see over here, we'll go with MP conversion, and then we will also go with nimble fingers. This is not max cooldown though, as you can see there are focus on modules. In this instance, I'm going to be focusing on singular and focusing on electric. This alone will bring my cooldown to 4.9 seconds, which is fairly solid. So that's what we're going to be going for our cooldown. Next up, we've got to max out our range with Bunny. So for that, we've just got two range modules to throw in slot. That's skill expansion and amplification control. This will allow you to basically reach almost max range with Bunny, and you'll basically be balling, especially with your third ability. Next up, we've got damage modules. So for this, it's a non-crit build just for the sake of consistency and for speedrunning. You do want to be running non-crit so that you can see how your damage performs in specific scenarios and adjust your build accordingly. But we're going with double amplification. Singular and electric amplification is going to be all you need for this. Now we've got our conservation mods. We've got to make sure our skill cost is enough to get us from one end of the dungeon to the other with absolutely no problem. For this, we are going to go with maximize conservation, and we are also going to pair this up with MP collector. You're never ever going to have any MP issues with this setup, whether it's a short dungeon, a long dungeon, or you've got a massive period of time where you just don't get any mobs. This will be good enough for you to absolutely keep running and keep being fast with Bunny and speedrunning everything. So this is what I would recommend for the modules. Next up, let's talk about the reactor and the external components. For the reactor, this is what I've gone with. For the mounting on the weapon, you can use whatever you would prefer. However, I'm going to be pairing it up with a peacemaker. So for peacemaker, that's going to be my main weapon or my main stat stick to run with. So this is what I'm going with. Next up, electric singular on here is going to be the two main ones you want in the middle for, of course, damage. For the two substats at the bottom, cooldown is going to be an essential part of this. You are going to want cooldown on your reactor 100%. For the other stat, duration up is not bad. Electric would not be bad. Singular would not be bad. Just basically damage on here is all you're going to need. Cooldown singular would be the perfect reactor, but I'm more than fine with duration up, and I don't really have any issues anyways. So yeah, that should be good. Next up, for our external components, let's have a look at our options. When it comes to Bunny and you want damage and speedrunning, there is only one correct option. It's going to be the Slayer set. Slayer set with Bunny is still kicking, and this is 100% the best option with this specific setup. So with this over here, I'll run over the substats. You'd want max HP and MP recovery out of combat. You'd want max MP recovery in combat, and then also the MP recovery modifier. Defense or electric resistance is completely good on here. And for your shield, for your processor, you just want shield recovery modifier, or toxic resistance. Across every single one of your external component cores, you would want max HP, and you would also want max defense. Simple as it gets for the external components, right? Now, for your weapon, like I said, I use the Peacemaker. I've got this set up over here for basically just dealing high levels of weak point and using this to one-shot or headshot dungeon bosses. You can see here I have 100% crit rate and almost 5 times crit multiplier and a 9 times weak point multiplier with this setup. So this is the substats and cores that I've got on my Peacemaker, and then this is what I have on my actual weapon. You can change the element just over here. This is for an element module, and yeah, that's basically all you are going to want for your weapons, and other weapons are completely optional. If I was to choose any other weapons to pair this up, I would choose the Voltia, and then I would probably also choose the Greg. Voltia is a ton of fun to run with Bunny. For my Voltia setup, this is my stats, and then this is my actual build for the Voltia. And then for the Greg, these are my stats, and then this is my actual build for the Greg. Wrong one. There you go. This is my actual build for the Greg. So, there you go. Weapons and loadout is sorted. Next up, let's have a look at the arcade tuning tree. For the tree, this is going to be what you want to go with. We go this way, we go down, and then we go all the way down to pick up arcade efficiency enhancement. This is going to give you more overall damage with Bunny, and power will stack. So this, whilst you're running, is going to be an absolute top tier. We are going to want to grab the range, because we want to be reaching range cap with Bunny. However, the skill power is not very important. What is important is going all the way up to the cooldown. Like I said, we want max cooldown on this build, and then going over here, we're going to pick up electric cohesion. So we've still got a lot of skill power, we've still got a lot of cooldown, and we've got a lot of damage. Now overall, what that does to this build is puts it in a position where you are at 4.9 seconds cooldown. So insanely spammable inside of dungeons, and this is absolutely ideal. If you don't mind and you do prefer experimenting a little bit with your damage, what I would recommend instead of a Slayer set as another option would be 2 pieces of the Mage set. So 2 pieces of Mage, any 2 pieces, it really doesn't matter. If you want to code these for better HP, you can do that. And then also 2 pieces of a Hunter set. Now the reason for this is with the Hunter set, you can push your cooldown to even lower, being 3.8 seconds, and then Mage will overall give you a little bit of extra damage on your 3 for your singular, and then also your 4th, which is your fusion. So this is another option you can use for your external components. 2 pieces of Plague or 2 pieces of Mage, and then 2 pieces of Hunter for that cooldown would basically be everything you are after. I prefer Slayer, you might prefer this for the faster cooldown, but that's basically that. Next up, let's talk about the inversions. So for the inversion reinforcements for Bunny, we are going to go with the sprint speed one. You don't really need this one, to be honest. You can replace this with a rounds one if you would prefer, but I just leave it on out of habit. Next up, biodensity augmentation. A little bit of extra HP is always going to be nice. I use selective neurostim for my third one. However, you could use ammo system if you're going to be firing, strike point amp, or neural focus augmentation, or even probabilistic recovery system. The third inversion is kind of optional. The only one I would say make sure to run is biodensity, and selective neurostim is optional, and so is the other one. It's just whichever you prefer running with your specific setup. So that's my Bunny build, and let's get on into some gameplay for this build. Okay, so let's run this dungeon with Bunny. I've got some of my viewers with me, another Bunny and 2 Serenas. So let me show you what this build is in fact capable of. My Serenas are going ahead. Happens. However, are they going to stay ahead? Absolutely not. Whenever you play Bunny, especially this setup, it's kind of cracked. So like, yeah, Serenas is not staying ahead of you, bro. Making sure to get yourself some good grapples in, charge up your condensers, nuke, and you can easily clean up. Serenas need to like really maximize their movement and know exactly what they're doing in order to keep up with how you can play this build. Once you get used to it and you learn how to like play the build properly, you can do some ridiculous levels of damage. Okay, right, you guys got the other ones. That's peak. Alright, let's keep going. And even with this, just because of Bunny's like cracked sprint speed, you'll outrun Serena to every place in the room, clean up every room before she gets there, and even with your condensers, you can absolutely nuke the entire room before anyone else even gets there. Keep it up on your movement, making sure you're landing your good grapples with Bunny as well, and you'll be set for absolutely doggery levels of damage. Over here, let's go around there, drop down here, and boom. Run straight through the door, and we're cooking. Final boss fight now. I'm gonna use the Gregs for the giggles. Okay, my Serenas are here. I'm not gonna use Greg now. I'm going to use the Volky a little bit. And there you go. A solid run, definitely a solid run. Our time probably wasn't the best. 137, actually some solid timing. And 454 million. That is a pretty good example of how this build would function. Bear in mind, there is another bunny in my lobby and 2 Serenas. So these 2 Serenas are 1,000,000% capable as hell. Kohai is a top tier Serena and Chaos is definitely another top tier Serena. They're both very capable players and this build absolutely shreds.